annual WKU Forensics Black History Performance Symposium. My name is Latea Williams, and I'm going to be your host for this evening. We have just 5 more days left of Black History Month. Would be 4, so thank you, leap year. We dedicate this month every year to reflect on the experiences and awesome contributions of Black individuals who made their mark before us. But today, we continue to add new chapters to the evolving Black experience. And that's what tonight is all about. Sharing our stories of struggle, triumph, and innovation. Please welcome our first performers tonight from Hodgen, Kentucky, Curtis Milby, and from Memphis, Tennessee, Allison Williams.
We're going down, 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 underground. We're going down, 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 till you hear that sound.
How can do this is Huey Calhoun, your one and only host of Bobbing with the Blues, coming at you from way, way up on the radio dial. We got our reviews in today, and it seems we got ourselves, well, about one radio listener. How can do this is Huey Calhoun, signing off. Whew. I'll see you tomorrow, Bobby.
We're going down, 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 underground. We're going down, 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 till you hear that sound.
Underground. Yeah! Woo!
Oh, hell no.
Hi there. It's my first time here.
How can I help you, sir?
And now look, I ain't trying to cause any trouble. The name's not Sir, it's Huey.
Well, the name's Miss Felicia, Mr. Huey, sir. And this right here is Bill Street, and we don't see too many white folks, so let's stay officers of the law. So I suggest you should get to go.
Tell you the truth, ma'am, I ain't never had the nerve to, well, come into a club like this before, but I heard you sing. And I wanted to see if you looked pretty as you sound.
Oh, shit! Family therapist Kyle Killian notes that at the center of any romantic relationship lays a co-created narrative, a compound identity crafted by both partners. However, Killian continues that for interracial couples, the path of this discourse is likely either one of compliance or resistance to societal expectations.
In other words, multicultural partners must either stigmatize their behavior to avoid stigmatization or actively confront racial tensions head on. Set in the 1950s, Joe DiPietro's musical explores this musical and this tension, suggesting that when navigating a relational narrative, we are faced with 2 paths. One, crafted by society's expectations.
And one carved by our own. Memphis.
By Joe DiPietro.
Doom, 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 doom.
You just wait, Miss Felicia. Pretty soon you'll know me as Huey Calhoun, your favorite customer.
Since when did my favorite customer become some pasty white boy?
Well, once I get you on the radio.
Sugar, you know how a woman knows when a man is lying?
How?
He opens his mouth.
Well, I have a show, and I would love to spin your music, Miss Felicia. Hell, maybe if I get you on the radio, maybe you can
Maybe you, but I know what.
maybe me and you could go out sometime or something.
Y'all heard this white boy just said this.
Well, just come by the station sometime and we'll figure something out. Whoa, this girl, she digs me. Felicia, she digs me. I'm Huey, she digs. Oh, well, I was just, I don't know what the hell I was just doing.
Well, I was knocking, but I suppose I shouldn't be in this neighborhood.
I suppose you shouldn't. Did anyone bother you?
A couple boys made a couple of remarks. Ain't nothing I used to, but I've been listening to your radio program, and I came down here to congratulate you.
You really came all this way just to congratulate me?
Well, I did have...
Or, because you missed me.
Oh, Mr. Huey, don't go getting all high on yourself.
You missed me.
I think I should be going.
No, wait. I missed you too.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, Huey, I've been thinking. You know how you've been promising to get me on the radio? Well, I know when a man promises me something, he always wants something in return.
Well, you know what I want? Play your sweet, sweet music for all my radio listeners.
And that's all.
Well, I do want something more. But not in exchange for getting you on the radio. I wanted something more because I figured maybe you want something more. Or something, I don't know.
It'll be dangerous, Huey.
Oh, yeah. You ever kissed a pasty whiteboard before?
You know, I can't say I ever kissed a cracker boy before. It wouldn't be too lousy, would it?
It'd be downright foolish.
It'd be dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
Huey, you really gonna get me on the radio?
Well, hell yeah. Tomorrow you're going to come by the station and I'm going to go on the air and say, how do you do, ladies and gentlemen? I got the very first record of Miss Felicia Farrell. Why, her singing so hot, it's going to melt everything in your icebox. It's going to make your little baby stand up in his diapers and shout, I believe this is Miss Felicia Farrell. Live from the Ponce, Miss Felicia Farrell.
Everybody wants to be back on a Saturday night. Yeah.
Everybody wants to be black on a Saturday night. Live from Delray's, this girl is the music to my soul.
Everybody wants to be back on a Saturday night.
They love you, baby.
Music to your soul. Huey, what the hell is wrong with you?
Well, I've been thinking, you know, this time with you, it's been the best ever. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, will you marry me?
Huey, why are you doing this?
Will you marry me?
Huey, get up now. Huey, how could you do that for everyone in Memphis to see? Don't you realize that they're alone?
So we can take a trip up north, get hitched and come
And
back.
then do what? Live together in secret? You know, someday, Huey, I want to have a family. I want to have a baby. How me and you gonna have a baby?
All right, answer me this. Pretend that we didn't live in Tennessee with none of these crazy laws. Pretend that two grown people can marry whoever they want to. Then will you marry me?
I gotta get you going.
Stop walking and answer me. Would you marry me?
I would, Huey. You know I would. But what if we moved to New York?
But people know me here. They love you here. We're Memphis, right? And we're happy here.
We?
Yeah.
Huey, you can come into these concerts, your radio show.
You would rather run than stay here and fight this? Would you rather fucking flee up north? When did I get blacker than you?
Now you hold on. You got choices in this world. You get to be white whenever you feel like it. I'm colored every time I step out my front door. So don't you come telling me that you're some type of hero and I'm some type of sellout fool.
Yeah, didn't he?
You need to leave.
Please, stay here with me. I love you. I love you more than anything.
I know, Huey. I love you too.
And this is Huey, coming at you from WRKN, way up on the radio dial. You know, I'd like to play on a record. Somebody very, very special.
We're going down, 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 underground.
The Real Housewives of Atlanta took a serious turn when during a visit to a church on the historic Underground Railroad, the cast noticed holes bored into the floor. Portia Stewart, granddaughter of civil rights leader Hosea Williams, offered her explanation. Well, there has to be openings at some point because somebody's driving the train. Portia. According to Julian Bond, chairman emeritus at the NAACP, has something in common with most Americans: civil rights illiteracy. According to the Michigan Chronicle on March 18, 2015, 44 states have inadequate curriculum standards on K-12 teaching of the civil rights movement. 20 states received a failing grade, which meant they didn't even try. The lack of standards results in ignorance on historic moments of the civil rights movement. The National Assessment on Educational Progress paints a dismal picture. Only 2% of high school seniors could answer a simple question about the U.S. Supreme Court Brown versus the Board of Education decision. Considering Henry Louis Gates Jr., professor at Harvard University, charges, without early, sustained, and comprehensive civil rights movement education in schools, the desperate call for one more discussion about race is destined to repeat itself in an endless cycle. We must consider the causes, effects, and solutions, because the Southern Poverty Law Center argues the civil rights movement is the defining event in American history that we don't bother to teach. At Harvard University, Julian Bond feared that his course on Black American history will be too simple for his students. So he devised a test of their knowledge. Not one student could identify Alabama's governor, George Wallace. One student described Wallace as a television commentator who covered the Vietnam War. Even Harvard's undergraduates are illiterate in civil rights. Because first, schools undervalue history, and second, we teach a sanitized version of the movement. First, history and social studies have been pushed out of the classroom. The Michigan Chronicle on March 18, 2015 notes that over the last decade, research has shown an overall decline in the amount of classroom time devoted to social studies. Now, state standards require schools to demonstrate progress in reading and math, or risk losing funding. History, which is not tested, is then de-emphasized in classrooms of schools desperate to keep up with those state standards. The previously cited Southern Poverty Law Center notes that in after schools, the instructional time for social studies has fallen by a third. When history is taught, the teacher might not be qualified to teach it. Recent data shows that 60% of history teachers have neither a history major nor a minor. Next, schools teach a watered-down version of the civil rights movement. The previously cited Southern Poverty Law Center confirms that states will rarely teach that there was an opposition to the civil rights movement. Only 19 states cover Jim Crow, and only 3 mention white supremacy. Further, by focusing on the narrow range of acceptable leaders, the full breadth and diversity of civil rights activists are obscured. These are just a few of the leaders that are only mentioned in one state. Huey Newton, co-founder of the Black Panthers. Ella Baker, a 37-year veteran of civil rights organizing. Medgar Evers, a civil rights leader out of Mississippi, who led just as many followers as MLK until his assassination at age 37. All erased. Reality TV star Phil Robinson made headlines after he claimed that Black Americans were happier before the Civil Rights Movement. Oddly, our school system is equally out of touch. Our shallow civil rights education is deleterious to the goal of social justice in two ways: ineffective civics and activism. First, without a full understanding of the civil rights movement, students are less likely to view themselves as actors for social change. Christy Brugger in the 2015 National Council for Social Studies argues that schools only depict a few adult leaders as central to the movement, leaving out young people, even children, as essential figures in the push for social change. As a result, students, especially students of color, are less likely to internalize this history as a contemporary example of their own power. Young people like Audrey Faye Hendricks, who at age 9 chose to risk jail in support of equality. 2 years before King Selma, Audrey and 500 of her peers marched the streets of Birmingham, Alabama, chanting and singing until she was arrested and imprisoned for 9 days. Next, the sanitized version of the movement taught in schools stifles a powerful tool of activism. Many districts highlight MLK and Rosa Parks as charismatic leaders, primarily responsible for political gains during the 1960s. But this popular narrative takes the movement out of the civil rights movement. Historian Michael Kamen tells Southern Poverty Law that there is a powerful tendency in the United States to depoliticize the movement for the sake of reconciliation. Now King, a radical anti-poverty activist, reduced to a charismatic integrationist, Rosa Parks, a lone stubborn woman on a bus, instead of a trained participant in a well-organized social movement. Terry Espin argues that as a consequence of teaching a disingenuous history, millions of young people are leaving public school with no framework for understanding racism and other forms of inequality today. Oprah Winfrey explained that her motivation for accepting the role of the butler was that so few Americans know the history of the civil rights movement. She proclaimed, "They know diddly squat." Now we can do better than diddly squat with legislative and personal solutions. First, states must redesign curriculum to best reflect practices for teaching the civil rights movement. Initially, all 50 states should require early and sustained civil rights movement instruction. Now, many districts attempt to cover the entire movement with a section of a single class in high school. Maureen Costello, director of Southern Poverty Law Center, suggests that social studies be reformed on the state level to introduce the movement in elementary school and then broaden the content in secondary school. Jamon Jordan, a social studies teacher in a charter school where the movement is taught in kindergarten, argues that today young people feel powerless. You are not here to see things happen to you, but to make things happen. And if the civil rights movement teaches us nothing else, it teaches us that. Next, we can create change in our communities. Women College, in collaboration with Southern Poverty Law Center, created Teaching the Movement organization. It trains students in teacher-tested curriculum about the civil rights movement and gives them the opportunity to implement lesson plans in actual history classes. Teaching in formal settings might not be for all of us, but the experience at Whitman tells us that schools are willing to accept help. At WomenTeachesTheMovement.net and Tolerance.org, there are dozens of lesson plans to better prepare teachers and activists. I encourage you to check them out in this country. Learning about a successful period of social organizing might be the spark one student needs to help change the world. Now, the civil rights movement freed black and white citizens from the forces of oppression. But after examining the causes, effects, and solutions of this inadequacy in our school system with this history, perhaps we're better prepared to honor it.
Help! Help! Someone, please help me! I need help. No, there's a guy trying to break in my front door. No, he's trying to kick it down. Please hurry. Help! Help! Police, help! He was running for help. But Officer Carey couldn't see he was in pain. He was covered in blood. But Officer Carey couldn't see that he was in pain. The B-boy is all immune to pain. For the slave, whipping is a medicine. If we see someone in pain, it triggers the same network in our brains that's activated when we are hurt. But people do not respond to the pain of others equally. This won't hurt a bit. This won't hurt a bit. Research has discovered that participants witnessing a member of their own race be poked with a needle activated the brain's pain matrix. However, when individuals saw black skin experiencing pain, they didn't flinch. My son's body was laid face down here. It's like he's killing him all over again. The problem isn't just the fact that people disregard the pain of blacks. It's somehow even worse. The problem is that the pain isn't even felt. Dr. Jason Silverstein of Harvard's W.B. Du Bois Institute of African and African American Research described a phenomenon known as the racial empathy gap. Silverstein argues that the psychological and sociological biases inhibit our ability to empathize and realize the extent of pain experienced by African Americans. The racial empathy gap explains everything in disparities, all the way from pain management to the criminal justice system. Program. We cannot heal the racial divide if we do not recognize the wound. I had to go to the emergency room recently. I did. I had gotten shot. So I go to check in, and they ask the most insulting questions when you check into the hospital. Hi, how you doing tonight? I'm doing good. And then they check me into this luxurious half room. This is nice. With a curtain down the middle of it with some guy moaning over there. Quit moaning like that! We're all hurt! During the Dahmer population, scientists believe that not all human beings were equally capable of suffering. There's believed to be a great chain of feeling that placed male Europeans on one end and slaves and animals on the other. Renowned American neurologist Silas Brill Milcher wrote in 1892, and process to being civilized, we have one, I suspect, intensified capacity to suffer. The savage does not feel pain as deep. Positioned in the antebellum South promote these medical fictions that make blacks attractive as experimental subjects, excusing painful surgical explorations without anesthesia.
Dr. Hamilton had been trying a great number of experiments for the cure of sunstroke. How was it? It seemed a strong and likely candidate to be experimented upon.
Listen, if you'd have met Jonathan, he was big and muscular, but he had the softest heart. He lost control of the car, and then he pulled himself out. He then pounded on that door to find help. I need help! There's a guy trying to break in my front front door. He's trying to keep it down. Please hurry. Officer Carroll was the first person to respond to that call. Before joining the force, Officer Carroll had worked in animal control. They arrived on scene August 25th, 1955, Money, Mississippi. A little boy with a cannon for Harvey's emerged from the barrel of the bridge. Bullets made confetti out of his face. They even tied an elephant-shaped cotton gin to the bottom of his torso that made him sink to the bottom. He had an entire circus act at the bottom of the river, and when he emerged, no one clapped. I guess death wasn't part of the act. Emmett Till was not a victim. He was a magician. Changed the course of a civil rights movement, and all he had to do was snap his neck. Today, African Americans make up 13% of the population and are victims of 26% of police shootings. Black children spend a longer time waiting in the ER, and are 39% less likely to be given pain medication in similar situations. So I'm killing Kyle, Robin. And the nurse finally comes in. How you doing tonight? I'm on a gurney. Do you have some pain medication or something? This is killing me. How would you describe your pain? This is killing me. I don't know if you remember that part. Horrific, excruciating. I'd rather have shards of glass in my eyes. How do I convey this to you? How would you rate your pain? 4 stars. 2 enthusiastic thumbs up. How would you rate your pain on a scale from 1 to 10? Saying a low number isn't going to help you. November 25th, 2005, they rang Sean's bell, the kind of bell that rings, the kind of ring you wear to a wedding, the kind of wedding he was on his way. He's got a gun! They fired 50 shots into the car, wounding Sean and killing 2 other passengers. One officer even stopped to reload his weapon, the way an artist stops in the middle of his painting to admire his work. Sean Bell was not a victim. He was a canvas.
Dr. Hamilton then went out to ascertain how deep my black skin was by blistering my face, my chest, my legs, and my feet.
John Crawford, whoever said he had the right to bear arms was lying, and he was a tiger let loose in a room full of poachers. That day, a father lost a junior, and a mother lost her son. I know what my son was thinking as he walked down that sidewalk towards the police cars. When someone needs help, you don't go to the dark, but you go to the light.
He poached my flesh, repeatedly burning and filleting my skin.
The media keeps calling these altercations. I don't know why they're spelling slaughter like that. I've never heard execution pronounced that way. He shot him 12 times. 12. I taught my son to turn to the police if he ever needed help. That makes this my fault. To teach him the rules of America, to stand in the light. But we cannot empathize with 7 billion strangers. Our best hope lies in the appreciation of the fact that even if we can't empathize with distant strangers, their lives hold the same values as the lives of those we love.
I know I haven't been up here for a while. You didn't forget me, did you? You know, there are many people in show business who say, oh, Nina started on top and now she's all the way to the bottom and all kinds of crap, which means nothing to me. Nothing at all. Because people think I'm bigger than life. And my music. Did you know when the police would raid the Black Panthers' house, first thing they would grab? My way. As if that's all I do. You know, if God had told me I'd have to sacrifice myself as a woman for this reason, I would have told him to take it all out. I have a feeling The only way I can tell you who I am these days is to start from the beginning. First brought into the spotlight for her pianist expertise, Nina Simone is perhaps best known for her furious raps and politically charged lyrics. As a strong advocate for equal rights, Nina used her music to exploit racial divides and encourage active participation in the civil rights movement. In her own words, I'm a rebel with a cause. However, alongside her unapologetic musical expression, Nina also battled undiagnosed manic depression. In her latter years, she reflects on how her role as a social advocate became her sole identity and ultimately a progression of her faith. In our struggle to navigate our own responsibility to act for Black equality, Nina reminds us, in the fight for emancipation, cultural pressures can be just as binding. What happened, Miss Simone? By Liz Barnes. When I first got into show business, I wasn't a dancer or a blues singer. I was a classical pianist. I started playing when I was 3. And my mother, who was a preacher, would take me to church and I started playing there. And that's when this white woman, she decided right then and there she was going to give me piano lessons. Because she had it in her mind that I was going to be the world's first Black classical pianist. After high school, I earned enough donations from doing these piano recitals. I was sent to Juilliard for a year and a half. After that, I applied to the Curtis Institute of Music. I knew I was good enough, but I didn't get accepted. And it took me years to realize it was because I was Black. And I never really got over that trouble. Well, money ran out, and I had to stop working. And I get this job in a club, and the owner says to me, if you want to play, you got to sing. And I've been singing ever since. And you know what I was interested in? Conveying an emotional message. Because with that music, it was like I could feel it. I mean, I could let out whatever was inside of me, and it didn't matter. But after they killed the girls in the church, that's when everything. I sat down and wrote this song, Mississippi Got There. And I mean, something in me broke. It's a violent song. In fact, most of the radio stations wouldn't even play it. Because I received boxes back from the 45 I sent cracked into. You see, as a child, I had to keep my mouth shut. Because my parents said that if God wanted things to be different, He'd make things different. Let's just wait and see. I waited. Watching the television while Martin Luther King gave his I Have a Dream speech.
it all right. I'm just one of the people who is sick of the establishment, sick of the cancer that America has become. And I may not be the doctor to cure it, but I can expose this sickness. It is my role, even though I wish it wasn't. God is who choose to not be involved or probably happen. But I have to live with me now, and that is very true. People have no idea I'm gay. And it's my ghost holding on. Yes, I hate him. But I hate myself more. I'm sorry that I didn't become the world's first black classical pianist. I think I will be happier. I just want the freedom of not having this role. People ask me what's freedom. No.
Okay, I know you guys can't tell by just looking at me, but I am an African American. I know, it was a big shock to me too, but after the years of eating fufu and achu soup every night, and that tingly feeling I get when I hear that one guy say, look at me, I am the captain now. I knew there was no escaping these African roots. Y'all know Africa, right? It's that continent across the Atlantic Ocean, shaped like a clubfoot. Okay, home of Ebola? Ah, there it is. While my childhood with Cameroonian parents may seem unique, according to the April 9, 2015 Washington Post, rapidly growing numbers of African immigrants have reshaped the overall black population in the United States. However, despite all the Africans coming to America, the April 15, 2015 Dallas News points out, nobody wants to talk about it. Like, shh, maybe if we don't bring it up, they'll just go away. America can't tell the difference between the Tyrone and the Tundes. But as the African immigrant population grows, we're failing to address the unique challenges they face in education, economics, and immigration. So, how do we all stand together and sing Kumbaya in a circle? Also, do any of you actually know what Kumbaya means? No? We got a lot of work to do. To find out, let's look at the problems and causes so that we can reach a solution that makes every African immigrant say, Wumay! That's Cameroonian for, yeah! Before meeting my family, my friend Lauren wanted to learn some Cameroonian words. So I taught her, Injila, how are you? And Obena, I'm well. When Uncle Chungong said, Injila, Lauren replied, Obenena! Ooh, some people African. some people, Afro need to stick to English. Thus, two problems face African immigrants in America: poverty and deportation. First, the November 23rd, 2014 group reports African immigrants have the highest unemployment and poverty rate of any foreign-born group. Okay, so you know how your parents always like, eat your Brussels sprouts, they're starving children in Africa. Joke's on you, Mom, they're starving in America too. That's not really a joke. But haters always say, immigrants are coming to take our jobs. African immigrants over here like, But they invited him to go back to school and earn those degrees all over again. Nasser, you should have gone to DeVry. Next, racism. If you are tired of hearing about this point, the exits are located to the back. Please secure your own white privilege before helping your child with theirs. Okay. The May 4, 2015 Huffington Post reports 26% of all immigrants are unauthorized, but only 6% of black immigrants are. So, why would they be deported 5 times more often? I wonder what the reason could be. Is it the dashikis? Nah, white people love that shit. The previously cited route argues black immigrants suffering significantly higher deportation means that racial profiling is at play. As different as black Americans and African immigrants may be, we have something in common. America doesn't want us here. Which is really confusing because the last time y'all had Africans on boats, you really wanted us here. But respecting people who are different from you is really not that hard for most people. Well, except for Donald Trump, but is he really a person? In Cameroon, we would say Ngaga. That means no. We'd also call him an Ebera Wuteo Konfunya, which means I'll tell you when you're older. Meanwhile, 2 solutions. Recognize African education and fight African deportation. First, it's like Americans watch one infomercial about Africans and think they've done their part by donating $1. No. You can do your part by getting a smart immigrant a job they deserve. Give me the $1. Upwardly Global is an organization that works to help immigrants find jobs that recognize the value of their education by donating to Upwardly Global, or even signing up to be a volunteer. You can help African immigrants like Nasser Diallo get a job that matches their skill. Like, why not give immigrants a club out option? You know, a chance to say, I got this. Second, we need to advocate for immigration reform that includes African immigrants. Black Alliance for Just Immigration is I love babies. It's an organization that focuses on issues specific to the black immigrant community. So, we're starting a Black Immigrant Lives Matter movement. And the first person to hold up an All Immigrant Lives Matter sign, I will go all Uncle Scar on your ass. Seriously. From plucking chickens at sleepovers to head wraps on Easter, I'm proud to be the culturally diverse African American that I am today. If it weren't for my mom struggling through 6 years of pharmacy school, or God forbid, if she'd ever been deported, my life would be nothing like it is today. She had to push through a system that was working against her. When we ignore the issues that our immigrants face, we are no longer the melting pot that this country was built on. More like a salad bowl. Like a really nasty, not enough dressing McDonald's salad bowl. So,
We looked at the problems, causes, and solutions to our ignorance of the African immigrant community, and we even learned some clutch Cameroonian vocab along the way. Now it's time to sing Kumbaya. Okay, well, it turns out Kumbaya is just about as African as Kwanzaa. Y'all didn't know that wasn't African? We got so much left to talk about. We should strive to be a nation that can proudly say we accept and care for those who are different and treat them with respect. Or, as Uncle Chungong might say it, Buhaga Miaka, Tinumpogo Musuma, Anie Lusa Bogana.
Life makes me feel like a flower blossoming in the wind. I'm so sorry, y'all. You see, I was supposed to perform this flower poem, but I really would like to perform this one. Now let me warn y'all, okay, this poem may make y'all feel a bit uncomfortable. Trayvon Martin will be in here. So, whenever you hear the words broken or used, think of him. Whenever you hear the words rock or still, think of Mike Brown. Whenever you hear the word death, think black. Okay? I'm gonna start the poem now. In 1998, a 45-year-old black man was gunned down on my own front porch. If you ask the police, they'll tell you that the shooting almost seemed to be accidental. That I was at the wrong place at the wrong time, that in these parts, these things just happen. If you ask the white officer, he'll tell you that he is so tired of black people making these things about race. Says that sometimes bullets don't have agendas, that in these parts, these things just happen. You see, I was supposed to perform that flower poem, but I would much rather perform this one. The idea of white privilege has gained much recognition over the past half-decade. However, opponents of this rhetoric argue that one of the biggest obstacles our nation faces is black privilege, or the idea that African Americans use race as a means to garner sympathy. Charles Blow of the New York Times argues, from the racial debated identity of Rachel Dolezal to former Vice President Cheney claiming Obama has used his race card throughout his presidency, many are beginning to believe that being black is being ahead. We do not use race as a means to garner sympathy, but rather as a coping mechanism. So through the poetry, Black Privilege by Crystal Valentine, 1998 by Jay Johnson, Race Card by Monica Charlemagne, and Dinosaurs in the Hood by Donnell Smith, a program, because my culture is not a crutch. She begins her day like the rest of us, gets dressed, damn, brushes her hair and teeth, stares at her dark face in the mirror, and prepares to endure another day. Foot barely touches pavement when she remembers she forgot something. Something she can never leave home without. Something for those minor infractions, those cultural transactions, something that turns that two-piece into a three-piece at Popeyes, y'all. She forgot. Woo! Oh, race card, black privilege is me thinking that I know Trayvon Martin on a first-name basis, is me carrying a mouthful of dead boys' names to use at my own convenience. I'm gonna make a movie called Dinosaurs when he looks out the window and sees a T-Rex. Oh, my bad. Because there has to be a T-Rex. It's a dinosaur movie. Duh! In 1998, a 45-year-old black man went outside to light a cigarette. Before I left the house, I kissed my 2 children and told them I'd be right back. Would have told them I loved them, but told them I'd be right back. The ambulance took 25 minutes to arrive on site. I died instantly. If you ask the police, they'll tell you that I was just the wrong nigga in the wrong hood, that in these parts, these things just happen. She swings by the bodega, grabs her coffee while the clerk tells the customer in hushed tones, they can get better jobs if their names weren't so damn ridiculous. She chuckles. See, she wants to tell them that we chose ethnic names to counter the assimilation we endured as slaves. You see, this is what the race card is for. But to her surprise, she lowers her eyes and realizes that her race card has expired. Black privilege is always having to be the strong one. Remember the way Jesus smiled on the cross, the same way Malcolm X laughed at his bullet. And there I go again, asserting my black privilege, using a dead man's name without his permission. Black privilege is dinosaurs in the hood, yes! I want some of those spitty, screaming dinosaurs. I want pterodactyls shitting on cop cars. Ooh! I want Viola Davis to save the city in the last scene with a black fist afro pick. But you see, this movie can't be a metaphor for black people in extinction. Nah, you see, this movie, it can't be about race. Because then, you dismiss this movie. She had heard stories of people's cars being revoked for causing too much discomfort. She spends the rest of her day ignoring the lynch mob gathered at the back of her throat. She begins to wonder if this is how the world prefers her. In 1998, I was gunned down on my own front porch while lighting a cigarette. If you ask the police, they'll tell you that I was just another black man doing what we do best, falling. So yes, we black folk tend to talk about struggle, to remind you that there are 200 Sean Bells for every corner arrest, to remind you that I even make the evening news, to remind you that this should be the part of the poem where I start my happy ending. But every poem I write sort of just happens to become a will. But what do I even have to leave behind? This body? Crack me open and another body falls out. I am a Russian doll of the dead. So many eulogies are written at the brim of my mouth. Black privilege is me trying to write a love poem the other day. But my fingers wouldn't move. My skin started to blister, like it didn't trust me anymore, like it thought I was trading in this noose for a pearl necklace. Black privilege is being so unique that not even God would look like you, but still being the first person in line to meet him. Black privilege is knowing that if I die, at least Al Sharpton will come to my funeral. At least Al Sharpton will make St. John, my mother's tears be. I clutches the card. And she prays for a day when they realize that this card is a birthright. A reminder that faces that look like hers have survived the unsurvivable, that although her history is fractured, she is far from broken. This is not an excuse. This is membership.
From myself, from the forensics team, and from the figures who came before us, thank you for attending tonight. South African civil rights activist Nelson Mandela once said, "Education is the most powerful tool to change the world. Our knowledge of the past can be used as a learning tool for the present so that the future of our nation is brighter than we could ever imagine." Thank you for coming tonight. Good night, y'all.